Welcome back, everybody, to another amazing edition of the Renatus InvestEdge. My name is Jay Stark. It is truly my privilege to be with you. And I wasn't here last week, so let me just say one time real quick, the national conference by Renatus that we held, 2 weeks ago now, was life-changing. It was amazing. I had such a phenomenal time, and I wanted to just give us some gratitude to the several instructors that we had there that made it all possible, and of course to every single one of our participants across the country who came into Utah, and those of you who couldn't be here but participated online. What a phenomenal opportunity that was. Now, this is the Renatus InvestEdge. The purpose of this call is to give you actionable items, tools that you can use today, taught by our practitioner instructors, individuals who are going to come out here and they're going to show you the strategies that they're using today, in today's climate, in today's market, that are helping to make them money and helping to help them change lives. Now, the host for the remainder of the call is the founder and CEO of Renatus. He's an individual that has made collectively hundreds of millions or grossed hundreds of millions across several different companies. Even more important than that, though, he has changed and inspired tens of thousands of lives, including my own. It's been my honor and privilege to get to work for Bob Snyder for over 14 years. And what truly moves the needle most for me is not just seeing the lives of other people that he's changed, but seeing the changes that have happened in my life and the changes that are happening in the lives of each one of my children because of who he is. So join me in welcoming out to the call the founder, the CEO, the visionary of Renatus, Mr. Bob Snyder.
Oh, thank you very much, Jay, man. And I got to tell you, it's so great to have you back. So great to have you back. It's awesome. We have got a fantastic InvestEdge planned for you today with one of our practitioner instructors, an individual that is just such a rock star inside of our community, and we're so thrilled that, we get a little bit of time with him on a day like today. Let me tell you just a little bit about Jeff Armstrong. I mean, Jeff Armstrong is one of the premier instructors in the wonderful world of seller finance notes. And what he's going to share with you today will help to light your world up, because you'll see another strategy in real estate investing that most folks don't even know exists. And that's the great thing about what we do in Renatus is, we've got, over 40 practitioner instructors, over 90 classes, different programs, all sorts of different learning paths that individuals can assimilate into their life and into their investing career, so that when you run up against a deal that's a little different, you've got so many ways to attack it and make money with it. And I'm thrilled that Jeff's here, because this is a guy who's been in this industry for decades. He's been involved with us in Renatus since the very beginning, and Jeff was actually an instructor in my previous company prior to that. So I've got a long history with this guy, and he loves his time in the sun. I don't care if that's on a sunny day in the ski slopes or that's out, bass fishing and on Lake Havasu, but you're probably going to hear a little bit about that. So Jeff, I'm going to bring you out here to talk a little bit more about, seller finance notes, why they're such a cool strategy, why you're absolutely in love with them. And mind you, here's the thing about it is, and this is what I love about our instructors, is that each and every one of them will come out and tell you why their strategy is the best. And my guess is Jeff's going to, lead us right into that discussion as well.
Well, thank you for that wonderful introduction, Bob. Thank you, Jay, for having me on. And you know what? I'm not going to say it's the best strategy. I'm just going to say that if you're a real estate investor, you need to know about seller finance notes and how they work. Whether you're buying a property, selling a property, you want to run a note business and be a note broker, or if you want to buy and invest in these types of notes, all of those things can be done. So it's not, one's better than the other. It's when it comes along, when it fits in your parameters as a real estate investor, you will be using seller finance notes in some way, shape, or form. And it's good to know about it. So with the 3 days of classes we have with you at Renatus, they can learn it all and be knowledgeable when they come across seller finance notes.
Yeah, look at you, man. You're being so politically correct. I thought he was going to come out and say, I'm not going to say it's the best. I'm not going to say it's the best. I'm just going to say that every other strategy is inferior. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, but no, you came out, man. You, Mr. PC, making it happen here.
Well, I did it. I did the buy and hold. I did the fix and flip. Before those were even names, I was doing that in the late 80s and early 90s until I found notes. And for me, this is the way to go. Absolutely. Everyone has to figure out their little niche, and that's why they got to watch all the classes and try everything out.
Well, Jeff, I'm thrilled to have you here. I really really appreciate you making some time for us. And And I want you to just dive right in, and then afterwards we'll get into a little bit more discussion and some Q&A. Individuals can put whatever question they might have in the comments, and Mr. Stark here will help to facilitate that so that we can make this a little more interactive and have some fun with it.
Sweet. Okay, I will share my screen now. Yeah.
Yep.
And we'll go to there, and we'll go there, and we'll go share. And we'll go from the beginning. Okay, guys, here we go. Current success with seller finance notes. We are going to be talking about how to do it as a business, how to do the notes as a business. We're going to be talking about how to do it as an investor, how to buy properties with seller finance notes, and how to sell properties with seller finance notes. So
Jeff, I think we're seeing your screen frozen.
Or you just haven't clicked on presenter view yet.
Presenter view. Okay. Well, froze it. Where's presenter view?
Or you're on the wrong screen if you're using multiple screens, because we can see all of your little slide previews on the left side, and then we can see a little bit larger one in the center.
How about now?
Wait for it. Wait for it.
All right. I think maybe it's giving us the presenter preview instead of seeing the full screen. So you might need to either swap screens with it or duplicate the screen.
Yes.
How did I, guys? I'm not a technical dude. I know how to push buttons.
You know how to push buttons and do seller finance notes, and you're not technical. Wow. So what you're saying is that there's hope. There's hope for everybody
all
out
the rest
there.
of us.
Yes. Start from the beginning. I don't see anything that says presenter view.
So it might be when you've got the full screen in front of you. If you right click on it, it might give you an option to either swap screens or to duplicate the screen, something like that.
Isn't it called Start Slideshow?
Well, it's not just starting the slideshow. I think we're actually seeing the presenter preview on him.
I see.
What do you see now?
We see us.
Yeah.
That's what we see.
Aaron's.
You know what? Let's just go for it, man.
Yeah,
We can still see
you
what's
just
on
keep
your
going.
screen.
Yeah, it looks great.
All right. I apologize. I don't know what's going on. But here we go. So current seller finance notes. Where were we? Let's start out with some definitions. Current success with seller finance notes. The note business is also referred to as the paper business. A lot of people say, we buy paper. It's the secondary marketplace for privately held notes and mortgages. It includes the brokering of individually held seller finance notes as a business, the purchasing of individually held seller finance notes for cash flow and extreme passive income, EPI, selling real estate with seller financing, and buying real estate with seller financing. Current success in the seller finance notes with notes. Let's define what a note is. A note is a piece of paper that states the repayment terms. How much a month, how long it goes for, and when the end date is. That is a note. The note is secured to the property by a security instrument. It could be a mortgage, a deed of trust, or a land contract. Sometimes also a contract for deed, as long as they're recordable and title insurable. So the note is secured to the property with a security instrument. It could be any one of those different security instruments. Once we understand that, I'm really getting a lot of echo, you guys. It's
Yeah,
kind of bothering.
and it looks like your screen is frozen. So we're still on your title slide.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
It
Now
just
we're
moved
on.
down.
Now we're on slide 4 with you. The current success with seller finance notes.
Okay.
But you also see the left-hand side.
Yes.
Okay, well, I guess
That's
we'll do
okay.
it like that.
We can
I
make that
can
work.
Do that a little
Perfect.
bigger.
Make
There
it a
you
little
go.
bigger. See there? Now
All right,
clean living
we'll just
paying
do it
off.
that way. Okay, there's a lot of notes. A lot of people are like, oh yeah, I want to buy notes. I heard about notes. This guy told me about notes. This lady told me about notes. I want to do notes. But there's different kinds of notes, and we don't buy them all. There's 3 types we're talking about real estate notes right now, because there's all kinds of other notes out there. We're talking about real estate notes secured by real estate. There's 3 types. One's called a private mortgage note, one's a conventional note, and the last one is a seller finance note. A private mortgage note is an individual loan. If your brother gave you a loan property, he's a private investor. If your uncle gave you a loan, if your grandfather gave you a loan, if your grandmother gave you a loan, that's private mortgage note. Any individual person that is lending you money to buy something, that's called a private mortgage note. An individual lends you money out of their pocket, that's a private mortgage note. A conventional note, I think we all get, it's a bank, a mortgage company, or loan originators. Anyone that originates and gives people money, as a loan to buy a property, that's a conventional note. Banks, mortgage companies, and loan originators, okay? That's a conventional note. Lastly, there is a seller finance note. It's a purchase money mortgage, also called a purchase money mortgage. With seller finance notes, no one is taking money out of their pocket or their bank account and giving it to the buyer of the property to purchase the property. No one's giving anybody any money. The seller of the property is carrying back the note of the equity built up in his property as kind of a favor to the buyer. A lot of times these buyers that come around can't quite qualify for conventional financing. They don't know any private mortgage note lenders. And so seller financing can be a very good avenue for them to go to. A seller finance note differs from a private mortgage note because a private mortgage note is a debt instrument created when an individual, not a bank, finances the sale of real estate. A conventional note is a debt instrument created when a bank or mortgage company finances the sale of real estate. With both of these two different notes, these entities and individuals are taking money out of their pockets, out of their bank account, and lending it to the buyer of the property. A purchase money mortgage, a seller finance note, is a note and mortgage carried back by the seller of the property to facilitate the sale of the property. Notice, nobody's taking any money out of their pocket. The seller of the property is not giving any money to anybody, taking out his pocket, taking out of his bank account. He is carrying back the equity of his own property to facilitate the sale of his own property. This is a true seller finance note. This is what we're going after. And it's kind of where people get confused because there's lots of notes out there listed for sale, but a lot of them really aren't for sale. Loans for them and not buying a note at a discount like we do. So let's get into it a little bit further. Twitter, we didn't do our Twitter yet. Twitter, that's what I'm talking about. You guys know that. Most of you out there know that's my thing. So we'll just keep on moving.
Yeah, it became a rallying cry for us at the national conference.
Yes,
it was Twitter everything.
Oh, that was awesome.
That was so much fun. I was loving it. I got Bob to say Twitter on stage. It was amazing. They loved it. And even I think Jeff Griffin said it on stage as well.
I think you got a few folks, man. It was a rallying cry.
Yeah, I think most of the audience said it as well.
Yeah, the audience was going off. Yeah, it was fabulous. So yes, Twitter. Let's get to an example here for you. Let's just say seller Sam is selling his property. Could be any kind of property, guys. Don't mess it up too much. A house, a piece of land, commercial, whatever. It's seller Sam's selling his property for $100,000. He finds a buyer. The buyer either can't qualify for a loan, doesn't have good credit, is self-employed, doesn't fit into the box. There's that box that to get a conventional loan, you have to fit into to get a loan from a bank or a mortgage company or a loan originator. There's a box that if you want to get a loan from a private investor that you have to fit in and able for them to give you their money. With seller financing, the seller Sam, seller of the property, seller Sam can do whatever he likes. It's his property. He can dictate the terms. He can dictate the down payment. He can dictate the terms of the note. In this case, seller Sam found buyer Bob to pay $100,000 for his property. Buyer Bob gave him $20,000 down, and seller Sam carried back an $80,000 note for 30 years at 9% interest for $643 a month. If you have your calculators, it all works out. That's what they decided on. No one told them to do that. That's what they came up to and negotiated together, possibly at a kitchen table, possibly not. But the point is that seller Sam and Bob, the buyer, created these terms themselves. They came up with it themselves. Buyer Bob said, hey, I have $20,000 down. Will you carry the $80,000 for me? Seller Sam said, yes. How about 30 years at 9% for $643.70 a month? So then that note is brought to me. When that note is brought to me from broker Bill, broker Bill comes in and says, hey, Jeff, here's this note. Here's the terms. How much would you pay for it? And I get back to broker Bill and I said, hey, broker Bill, I'll pay $65,000 for that note. Then broker Bill goes back to seller Sam and says, hey, Sam, I got a great price for you. I'll give you $60,000 for your note. So what the broker Bill just did was he worked in a $5,000 fee for himself when this closes. So when I give you a price, or when other note buyers give you a price for a note and you're brokering your note, you can negotiate the difference. So if we give you 65, you can give them 62, 60, 58, 55, whatever you can negotiate, you can get. In this case, broker Bill said $5,000 sounded good to him. Seller Sam accepted the $60,000. We do the due diligence. We do an appraisal, we check the credit, we do title work, and then we close. And when we close on a note like this, here's how it looks. As the note buyer, the balance of the note's $80,000. The investor's pay price was $65,000. The yield is about 11.5. There's an initial built-in profit of $15,000 if the note pays off like the month after we buy it, which kind of happens sometimes. But over the next 30 years, when the note buyer is collecting these payments, he's going to realize $231,732 less the $65,000 that he paid for the note, gives him a profit over 30 years of $166,731. Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter.
And that's just one note, right? So imagine buying a couple notes like this, or putting one note in your IRA every year. Being a note buyer is the place where every note broker and a note investor wants to get to. Is being that end buyer and having notes in a portfolio and basically being the bank, like we were talking about before. So as a note buyer, that's great, but most people don't have a bunch of money for a note right now. Hey, I don't have $65,000 sitting around for a note, Jeff. How can I get involved? Well, you can do it as a business. There's a big business out there. I say big, not really that big. I mean, because the seller finance note niche inside of itself is very small in the real estate community. However, there's a lot of notes out there. And we need more note brokers out there to help us find these notes that we can't find them all. We buy notes in all 50 states and we do the best we can. But, there's competition and other people are out there. But as a business, over the 34 years I've been doing this, we've dialed it down to 4 steps to earn fees. Find them, expose them, educate them, and support them. When we find the note holders, expose them to the opportunity that they can sell their note, educate them about the different options they have, and then support them until they say yes. That's how we earn our money. That's how we earn fees. To break it down even further, as a business, there are 7 steps to getting from beginning to end of a business transaction. You go out and find them. That's your marketing. Marketing is 70% of our time. We take up most of our time is spent trying to find notes, as many notes as we can. Seller finance notes. Then expose them. Once the marketing works and they start contacting us, whether by email or online form or by phone call, we gather the information. All the details about the note, sales price, down payment, the starting balance of the note, interest rate, how long it goes for, payment amount, all that stuff. Once we have all that information on our one-page worksheet, we submit it for pricing. Then you'll obtain offers from us, and you get to subtract your fee. That's where you decide how much you can negotiate and how much money you want to make. Broker Bill said $5,000, and that's what he got the seller to accept. Broker Bill did not tell seller Sam that he's making $5,000. He doesn't have to. He just gives him the offer of $60,000, and it's accepted. Once you present the options and it's accepted, we do the rest of the work. You guys go back to marketing and finding more notes. If they don't say yes, you do lots of follow-up. If they do say yes, you'll be assisting me with closing. I'll email you some questions or ask for additional documents or things like that. So those are the 7 steps of the business. Once you do all that, you'll find a real transaction. We just closed this one last month, and I thought I'd throw it in here real quick to show you what a real deal looks like. This is Pahrump, Nevada. When you do notes, you're going to learn a lot of little towns all across the nation.
Hey,
And one of them
I've been to Pahrump, Nevada, man. I know Pahrump, Nevada.
I was there.
Do you?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just outside of Vegas, about 45 minutes or an hour, and it's Pahrump. I mean, it looks like and sounds like and is like it sounds. Pahrump. It's Pahrump, Nevada. It's a sleepy old town, but sometimes this is where a lot of seller financing happens because the banks don't want to lend in some of these places, right? So this was a tiny mobile home on a regular sized lot. He sold it in December 5th of last year, 2024, for $180,000. Him and the buyer decided to do a 5.2% interest rate for 20 years. And you put it in your calculator, it comes out to a payment of $1,207.90 a month. Now, I'm not involved yet, right? They don't even know about me. I don't even know about them. They did this themselves. The seller sold his property for $180,000. The seller paid $180,000. So let's see what it looks like. When we the first payment due was 12/5 of 24. 4 payments were paid. The next payment due was 4/5, which actually they just did pay it last week. The first payment we got because I bought this note. So 4 payments were paid, 236 payments remaining. The balance on this note when we purchased it was $178,277. The loan to value, they didn't put a lot of down payment. That kind of hurt their price. It is 93.83%, so kind of high. And the payer's credit score was only 610. Not the greatest, but not bad. I mean, we see some really bad stuff, and we see a little bit of good stuff, but most of it's 610 is acceptable. So for our transaction, we did that. We started talking to the seller February 11th. We funded this March 26th. I paid $143,418. That's an 8% yield. The seller accepted $137,500, and the broker that brought this to me received $5,918. This was just a small little transaction that we did. You can see it took us about 6 weeks to do. There were some title issues. There was a problem with the mobile home title, and then there was things we had to clear up on the title too. But we usually close transactions in about 3 to 6 weeks, right? If everything's in order, we can close pretty quick. If not, we actually had to do some title work and help them do that. But that's on our side. You guys don't have to worry about that. We do all that stuff. But you could just see, was everybody happy in this transaction? Is the note seller happy? Yes, he got his money. He got $137,000. Is the broker happy? Absolutely. He got $5,900. And am I happy? Is the investor happy? Well, yeah, I got this note that's going to pay me $1,207 a month for another 236 months. After those 236 months go by, they will have paid $285,000 less the $143,000 that I paid, and that's a total profit of $141,646 over those 20 years. Right? Now, realize, guys, this just started. We just got this note. So if they pay off next month, is that a bad thing? No, because I have that built-in profit already, right? What's that? Right. 43 and 78. That's the $28 profit, $35,000 profit, right? I think I'm at 28. Yeah, something like that. 28, 7, 35,000. Yes. So that wouldn't be a bad thing, but we don't want that to happen. We want the payments to come in. We want the cash flow. That's why we buy notes. So I'm not buying notes to get to the property. That's a whole nother strategy. That's day 3. That's another class or another InvestEdge that we'll have to do on non-performing. But these are performing notes. We're doing it for that cash flow. $1,207.90 a month for 236 months. And over time, that's almost 100% return on investment if it goes the full 30 years. So it's just Twitter, just big Twitter, on getting to the point of investing in some notes for yourself. Some of them are big, some of them are smaller, but you can always start out somewhere. I started out in 1991 just brokering the notes, and then I bought my first note, I think not till 96. It took me 5 years to get comfortable with it because there wasn't as much information out there as there is now. And there weren't classes like this. There wasn't a place like this, like Renatus, a community where people can go and learn from each other and work with the practitioners and stuff. So it took me a while to get comfortable, but it shouldn't take you guys that long anymore to get moving forward when you're buying notes. Brokering notes, I mean, that's a whole different story. When you're brokering notes, you're going to find the transactions, you're going to be getting deals, you're going to be earning those kinds of fees. And as that builds up, you'll build up a nest egg to start buying some notes. I never suggest to anyone to ever borrow money to buy money. Because some people ask me, oh, should I get a HELOC on my house so I can start buying notes? No. We don't want you to do that. I got a $30,000 credit card. Can I buy this note with a credit card? Well, you can do these things. But as a 34-year veteran in this industry, I've seen a lot of people lose a lot of money. And I'm telling you, please don't. Don't borrow money to buy money. When you have cash, you can buy a note. When you are selling or buying a property, you can do so with seller financing, and we'll just rotate right into that. So we already talked about investing in notes, and we talked about being a note broker. Let's move in. We're just trying to hit the high points here. We're going to move in here to selling and buying real estate with seller finance notes. First, let's talk about the advantage of why do people use it? Why do people carry back a note? Well, the properties could be offered to a much larger pool of buyers. It helps the seller receive his or her full price, helps the seller sell his property faster, even in a slow market, helps us sell difficult properties like mobile homes and auto repair shops and marinas and land, right? All these are difficult to sell properties, and it's getting more difficult with the interest rates that are up right now and the climate that's out there. We're looking forward to a lot of people needing cash. So these are some of the advantages of why people use it. And then why do people sell their notes? I kind of jumped into it a little bit, but they want or need cash. They didn't want to carry the note in the first place. They wanted the money to invest in another property, business, stocks, or other ventures. They want to go on vacation, buy a car, pay for college. The bottom line is people don't sell their notes unless they have a want or need, right? Individual seller finance note holders will not sell you their note unless they have a need. Okay? Great, Jeff. That sounds great. So if we're talking about buying and selling properties, did I skip one? Yes.
That does sound great, Jeff, just in case you were wondering.
Hey, Jeff, can I just say that sounds great?
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Or Twitter, in other words.
Yes.
Twitter, in other words. So, Twitter's just way better.
Yeah, because that's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. Yes. It's just too much to say. It's like a mouthful. So when you sell a property with seller financing, what do you want to do? There's a lot, even some other instructors out there and other tactics. And I know Chris Album for sure, and Bill Predabone and these guys, they use seller financing to buy properties and sell properties. So when you're selling a property, people ask, well, what should I do to set myself up so I have a good note? Well, you get as large of a cash down payment as possible, as high of an interest rate as possible, and you want to amortize it and then give it a balloon in 30 years. So we want a cash down payment. Let's say it's a single residential owner-occupied property is what we're talking about here. You want at least a 10% cash down, maybe 20% in this climate would be even better. As high of an interest rate as possible. The lowest interest rate a seller financing note should have, in our expert opinion, is 9% right now, right? 9%. It sounds high, but that's what it should be if you as a seller of a property want to have a sellable note for a decent price. We tell people to amortize the note to keep the payments as low as possible for the buyer. So amortize it over 30 years, but then give it a balloon in 7 years. Not 5 years, not 10 years. 7 years is key. 7 years gives that person enough time to build their credit up in your eyes, to get themselves in a position to be able to refinance and pay you off in 7 years. It's a good amount of time. Not too short of a balloon, not too long of a balloon, but just right. Okay? So when you're selling a property, these are some things to think about. There's more details in the class in the back office, so go in there and watch it. It'll give you more details on selling properties with seller finance notes. Now, what if you want to go buy a property and you can't get a loan for some reason? You're self-employed, you have poor credit, you don't have enough down payment, whatever it is. When you buy a property, the best thing for the buyer is not the best thing for the seller of the property. So if you're the buyer of the property, you're making offers on properties to try to buy properties with seller financing. What's best for you, the buyer of a property, is to give them no cash down, to have 0% interest, and to amortize that thing forever.
Yeah, that would be a really awesome deal. I'd like to take as many of those as I possibly can get.
Let me tell you, Bob, we see this kind of stuff, and it's terrible for the seller, for the note holder, because that note is going to be worthless. It's going to be it's not worthless. It's worth something, but it's going to be worth very, very little. 20 cents on the dollar, 30 cents on the dollar, because it's a long time. There's risk there. There's no interest rate. But as a buyer of a property, I've bought properties like this, and you start out with zero, but then you end up negotiating. So instead of zero down, it ends up to be 5,000 down. Instead of 0% interest rate, you get a 4.2, right? Instead of 60 years, we got it down to 45 years. But as a buyer of a property, if you're looking to buy property with really little money of your own, make offers with seller financing. It works. People take it. When people need money, they will take it. Next step. Well, let me go backwards here, because I want to give you the facts I want to give you those before I give you the facts on what's happening right now in the note industry. I just got the 2024 numbers last week. I didn't have them for the convention, otherwise I would have used them. But for this last year, you can see right there, for the last 10 years, I have it laid out. Things will go up and down, right? The past 5 or 6 years, we've been in that $80,000. I mean, not $80,000, 80,000 plus note holders, new notes that have been created in that year. 86, 84, 89, 83, 89, 89. So last year, we were like getting really excited because it went up 7%. But then in 2024, it only went up 0.13. So very, very little. It kind of stabilized. So what's going on in the industry right now in 2025? We're in like a wait and see kind of mode. I think we've been that way for through 23 and 24. Wait and see what happens after the pandemic. Wait and see what happens after the elections, right? And now we're at that point, and we're going, okay, things are getting tight out there. Interest rates are still up. We are thinking that we're going to see 100,000 or more notes created this year, carried back, just individual seller finance notes with a balance of 30,000 or above. And keep in mind that this doesn't count the whole country. This only counts the 2,096 reporting counties in the United States. There's a whole nother, almost 1,100, a whole nother 1,000 counties that we can't get data from. And there are more notes out there than this. And once they're created, they don't go away. They might have been sold or paid off, but they're still there. Right? So it actually compounds on itself every single year. There's more and more and more notes. And just trust me when I say that there's plenty of notes out there for plenty of people to be brokers, to be note investors, and to do this. There is competition like any other business, but there are plenty of notes out there, plenty of seller finance notes out there for us to go after. So I wanted to give you those current facts on the industry on this call too.
Excellent.
The next thing I wanted to touch on, and then we can go to questions, are the top 10 note business myths. There are so many things going on right now in this country that I think people are getting lost with the incorrect information from gurus. And I kind of wanted to make a point. Even at nationals, I was talking to some people and they had the wrong idea about notes. So I'm going to go through these 10 note business myths and hopefully clear up some of the confusion about what I do and what we're going after and what can be done in a note transaction. So the top 10 note business myths. Number 10, all property types, res commercial, land, etc., are priced the same. No, they're not. Owner-occupied, residential, single-family, stick-built homes is the best note to buy, the safest note to buy. Anything after that, it goes different. Then you got mobile homes and land. You've got 2 to 4 units. You got 5 units and above. That goes into commercial. You got multi-units. You got land. You got little plots of land. You have acres and acres of land, and they're all priced differently, right? There's different risk associated with each note, and then different note terms as well. So not all notes are priced the same. A note season for 6 months or more will greatly increase the value of my note. Not true. If it does increase the value of your note after 6 months, it'll be very negligible, like not even 1%. So that's not true either. Another huge myth out there, I can sell my note for 100% of the balance or more, meaning that's a par price. Whatever the balance on that note is, that's what I can sell my note for. Incorrect. Now, there might be some naive, unknowledgeable people that think they want to be note investors that will pay a ridiculous price for a note because they're getting an 8% return or something. That's few and far between. But the general rule is that it does not what we do. Notes are purchased at a discount, and don't forget that. If you're not buying a note at a discount, something's wrong. And then the opposite of that is also not true. I can only sell my real estate note for 50% of the balance or less. That not true. It just depends. It just depends. So there's no blanket statement that people can make about the value of notes. Every single note is analyzed on its own merits and given its own price. Number 6 myth: a note purchase transaction only takes 7 to 10 days to complete. Yeah, after we do all the due diligence. 7 to 10 days is the time it takes me to send out documents and get them back and fund the sellers rarely send them back the next day, right? So a note purchase transaction actually takes about 3 to 6 weeks, right? Depending upon what we have to do. I've had transactions close in 2 weeks or less. I've had transactions take 9 months to close, depending upon what we had to do to help them out and clear title or whatever we had to do. But a note purchase transaction takes more than 7 to 10 days to complete. Number 5, as a note broker, I can make as much commission on a transaction as I want. If I can negotiate it, I can get it. True up to a point. If I'm paying $60,000 for the note and you got the buyer to accept $40,000 and you're making $20,000 and the seller's only getting $40,000, we're going to have a talk. That's gouging. That's a little much. If people gouge and you take whatever they can get, this industry will be the next one to be regulated, and we don't want that. Myth number 4, there are hundreds of investors that purchase real estate notes. Not really. There's probably 5 institutional investors. We're talking big banks with deep pockets that will buy seller finance notes. We use them once in a while. I use them now. I used to use them all the time. There are hundreds of little guys that, hey, I have $40,000 for my self-directed IRA. Can I buy a note? Yes. So there might be hundreds of those types of individuals. But as far as hundreds of investors, not really. As far as people that are doing this full time as a business like myself, I would say there's less than 100. I would probably even go further and go less than 50. But there's not a lot of us individual note buyers that do this as a business, and that's all we do. Myth number 3, there's very little competition for real estate notes. Well, as I just stated, there is some competition, and we do end up dealing with that. Myth number 2, getting down there, posting a note I found on the internet is the best way to sell it. That is the absolute worst way to sell it. And we don't have time for me to get into it today, but I'm just going to tell it to you. Do not post a note you found on the internet and try to sell it to someone.
Is that a yellow Post-it note? I mean, is that a green Post-it note? I'm just kind of curious.
Well, there's what people are calling note boards out there, and people, banks and mortgage companies have been posting their notes on them, and there's very few seller finance notes on there. Buying bank paper is a whole different ball game. We talk about that in the 3-day class as well. And it's just a really, really bad way to go. I'll tell you this, I have never bought a note that I found on the internet in 34 years. They always fizzled out. Something was always wrong, poor appraisal, poor credit, or the sellers are very unrealistic. They want par, they want 90 cents on the dollar, and that just doesn't happen with people posting it on the internet.
Right.
Myth number one. Notes listed on the internet for sale have been vetted and are good deals to buy. Well, the companies selling to you are going to tell you they're vetted, right? And so I always say, trust but verify. It appraised for 280. Okay, I'll appraise it myself and find out if it appraised for 280, right? No, the buyer's been vetted. Look, we have this RMLO package. That means nothing to us. We're going to do our own due diligence, and then we'll buy the note. So those are my top 10 myths of the note business right now. And what do you do now? What do you guys do now? The whole entire Renatus community, you get interested and you like notes and you want to do notes. And the thing is, all you got to do is go into your back office, watch the classes, invest in yourself and in your future, partner with practitioners, people that are doing it every day, like myself, and stay involved with the community. That's really what we want you to do. Okay? So Twitter, if it's important to you, you'll find a way. If not, you will find an excuse. Stop making excuses and start watching some classes. So
that's what I'm talking about.
Twitter, baby.
Yeah.
Let's get this. There we go. Am I back?
He's back.
You're back, Jeff. That's fantastic. Hey, I know we've probably got a few questions, but I've got a question or two, So Jeff, when we talk about, risk to reward, that's always something that every investor's got to consider. What is it about seller finance notes that makes you feel so confident in this strategy?
I did this for 4 years. I took 5 years to turn the business. Again, there wasn't a lot there when I was starting out, and I did buying, the owner single family home notes. That was okay. Then I ventured into mobile home notes, and I learned every time you move different property type, you're as you're going. Mobile homes and land. People that are afraid to buy a no home, what to do with a mobile home, right? Mm-hmm. They don't know that it's titled by the DMV and that it's attached to the land and all these. There's different stuff that I learned and made me feel more confident about those. And so my notes in my portfolio right now are on mobile homes and land. These people pay, and that's going to keep making payments. Then when I ventured into the commercial area, you learn even about commercial and the different nuances. And when I teach the class, I tell people that this is like a 700 level, and you have your 100 level, your 200 level, your 300 level, your 400 and up. And it's just like, this is advanced. You're not just right into things. Land is the riskiest type of property out there. And if you don't know, don't buy a note on land. I happen to like land, especially here in Arizona, and heck, I don't mind buying land if I can do due diligence and feel comfortable about it. There are risks out there, but in 4 years, I've only had closures.
Wow.
Over 2,600 transactions. So I don't want to lose my money. I go to Vegas, or I can't even put a 20 down. It's just gone. And I want you to come back. And on these foreclosures,
yeah, I
end up. If you buy it, you lose your money. And people just, no, they want to be like so bad. I'm just like, be patient, right note. Don't rush. Don't get out there and buy one off the. A good one will come along if you're willing and open to.
Right on. That's pretty fantastic. Now, a lot of folks are probably looking at this and they're going, all right, well, that sounds pretty darn good, but how am I protected in the deal? If you own the note, then you're kind of in the same position as a bank, right? So if they don't make a payment, what do you do?
Okay. When it gives the loan, the people, there are set criteria on how a bank can them. They cannot call them until 90 days. They can't do this for 120 days. They can't do this until. So there's certain regulations they have to follow. When I buy a seller note, things are a little bit different. When I buy a seller finance, I am a holder in due course. Holder in due course. It's as I sold myself and carry a note. Buy that note. After I buy that seller note, and it's in my. It's as if I sold that property and kept it myself. So I don't have to follow all those rules. I do give, I want people to make their payments, right? So I got a guy in South Carolina. He's behind 4 months. He had it in there, property. He didn't have the money. He was paying the mortgage. So I'm a little bit of slack. The notice of default is ready to be filed as soon as he doesn't communicate with me. But as long as he keeps communicating with me and saying, hey, how, text me back good, and stops communicating, then I'm going to file. The payor with the person taking the payments is key to retaining the payors. And so they know that, hey, I'm not, right? I'm going to let you slide a little bit, right? I'm not reporting it to the credit bureau yet. But that's how I kind of handle it. I keep that queue open. With that payor, once you issue payor, I'll credit. It can just get crazy. So
in other words, the loan is collateralized. You've got a physical asset there, so that protects you against loss, and you're able to kind of move from there. It's a beautiful thing. I know Jay's over here taking a look at his list.
Yep.
And of questions and comments. What do you got there, Jay?
All right. So first one up. Where did it go? Was from Alvin. Alvin, I'm trying to find it. I swear I saw a question come in from Alvin. I think he was asking what are the note rates like today, and where do you see it moving in the future? It was something along those lines. I don't know why I'm overlooking it right now, but that was the question that he was asking.
Well, like interest rates?
Yes.
Right? So where do I feel interest rates are going? I go, I'm not kind of in. Yeah, I'm just, right. I don't know what depends with all the changes the new administration is doing and stuff. I don't know where things are going to go. This is new territory, right? I mean, after the crash, we didn't know what was going to happen. After the pandemic, we didn't are kind of figure out what happened. And I don't know if they're going to keep going up. I don't know if they're down again. I kind of think they're steady for a while. I also think that people are afraid of tariffs and everything, and we're going to be affected by all these tariffs. I think people are going to need money. I'm going to do more deals here than I did last year. I think I'm going to get more calls from people that are holding notes than some cash, right? I count my bills right now, or whatever it is. I see this, and it's April 7th. I've already 7 transactions, and I don't see it slowing down.
Right.
Last 70. So I'm on track to 100 this year, but I haven't done 100 maybe since the crash. 100 in a year I haven't done since the crash. Right. So this might be a really, really good year. I'm knocking on wood. Hey, knock on your wood there. I see you got some wood. Knock on wood.
Just for you.
There you
go. Exactly.
You just want to keep going and yeah.
All right. So
if it stays the same, that's great. I've been waiting for interest rates to go up since 1999, right? And they haven't. So now they're going up, and fewer people are qualifying for conventional financing, which means more opportunity in seller notes, which means more, which is going to mean more deals for us.
Yeah, right on. All right, so Nicholas asked this question. He said, do you use your own cash to buy notes? For example, the Perump note. Whose money did you use for the 143K?
I thought I mentioned actually my self-directed IRA.
Awesome.
Self-directed Roth. I'm going to get no tax on that note ever.
What a beautiful thing, man.
Okay.
Right?
Veronica asked this question. She said, when you say you need individuals to find notes, how does one do so? Maybe what's the first step?
First step, get in your back office, watch the class, and then you email me, and then I help you set up this. We get a little website built. We do a little marketing plan together. I have a nice one-page market for people with, and I get you to market for notes. And then I'm there for you when questions come up. When across, bring them to me. If I don't buy them, I'm going to, find one of mine that will buy it. And it's a great place to start. Best place to start. Go watch classes and then shoot me an email. The email is in.
Awesome.
We'll help you get it.
Awesome. Gene asked this question. How many notes do you have to vet before you find a deal typically?
Wow. Last year, I remember my stats. I keep all kinds of stats. Last year, did I remember real quick. For every 10 yeses, I got 3 to close.
For every 10, you got 3 closed? Is that what you said?
Yes. For every, but you got to kind of walk. The person says verbally, okay, the first thing I do is check the credit of the person paying. That knocks out half of them.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Gotcha.
Meaning that the buyer's credit is high in the price that I quoted them, that if they had good credit, and then they have bad credit, my cost, my price for that risk, and they say no. So half of them go right out of the gate. They'll say yes, but right after we look at it, and we have to, to keep our risk safe, and they go away. So that's half of them go away for that. So that's of the 10 go away right away because of poor. And then out of the 5, 3 out of the 5 are going to close. They're going to have title or the seller or they just back out sometimes too. But we'll get 3 of those other 5 after we get past you.
Right on.
Yeah. So that kind of answer the.
Yeah, absolutely.
3 out of. Yeah.
That's
but
awesome.
again, also for you newbies, I spent 34 years off the walk and talk the talk. I got this negotiating for notes down. Starting out, you're not at a 10 for a negotiator. For notes, negotiating for notes, similar but different. You just need the lingo and you need what to say to the people and to keep moving forward.
Nice. Awesome. All right, we got a couple more questions that have come in here. Valoria Investments asks, should I reach out to note holders that held their notes for a year or go after newly created ones?
When you're marketing for notes for the newly created ones, after a year, they've already done dozens of letters and postcards and then them up to about 12 months, your results from your marketing will go down. The percentage of people contacting you from your go down. So you want to hit them 1 month after they carry back that note.
Gotcha. Right on.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Snyder, I know that you've got a couple of announcements you wanted to make right at the end of the call.
Just a few things there, man. Yeah, but I think it's a good time to call it a wrap. Jeff, thank you so much, man. We just appreciate you so much in the community here and being able to spend a little bit of time with you on Renatus InvestEdge today.
Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter. You're my friend. You are a wealth of knowledge.
I appreciate it. I don't know if using what was on the PowerPoint and stuff, but I'm glad we got through it. So thank you for having me on. I'm glad it was after those 2 because everyone's still pumped up. So
right on, man.
Going. We've got positive energy and laughs, right? Oh, they all make that after the conference. I'm do that. Do it. Start with number one and start doing it now. It's already been 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks past already. What are you waiting for?
Right.
Right?
Man, I love your enthusiasm because that's exactly what they need to do. I mean, they got to be able to apply what's been taught and get out there and make some things happen. So, Jeff, you're a rock star. Thanks for being with us. We really appreciate it. And enjoy that 90 to 100 degree weather down there in Lake Havasu.
Yes, sir. I will. Oh, you guys, and this is on Bob J. You want to come? You want to come with the wives, kids, whatever? Come on down. I'll show you a good time down here in Havasu.
I know you will, man. All right, so you've already told me, I mean, that the weekends are boating on the party barge, and then Wednesdays are bass fishing, so, we kind of know our schedule.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff, thanks so much, man. We appreciate it.
Awesome.
Hey, and I do have just a few announcements, just really simple stuff here that I want to talk about. First of all, you know what? I mean, every single week we've got different topics, different instructors. Sometimes they're students, sometimes they're some of our practitioners. Listen, if you want to subscribe to this channel so that you get notifications on a regular basis, then hit subscribe, hit the notification button, and if you liked what you heard, give us a little thumbs up because we'd love to have that. So share, like, save, and subscribe. Now, in addition to that, the great thing about it is that if you want to know more about what we do and how we do it, on your screen is a link or a QR code. And you can simply, just take a look at either one. They're going to take you to the same place where you can schedule a free 15-minute real estate investing consultation with one of our real estate experts. And that way, we can get a feel for, kind of where you're at in your investing career, whether or not we can be of some assistance to you, and then be able to go from there. Another thing, too, just for our community inside of Renatus, and that is we got a brand new class up. Many of you got an opportunity to meet Patrick Munson in person at the National Conference. This guy is such a stellar individual when it comes to the world of taxation. And as we know, taxes are your largest expense in life. Patrick has so many tax strategies, and we've just created a full online all-day class. It's a part of our education so that you can capitalize on all the deductions, all the strategies that Patrick has to share with you. And that is now available in the Renatus back office for our students. So a lot of good stuff going on there, Jay. I'm just really thrilled that we had this opportunity to share, spend some time together, discovering, all the possibilities in seller finance notes. Now it's up to you, man. Let's get out there and make some great things happen so that you can enjoy your very best life in 2025.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Believe me, I can make a change. The time is now to live out loud. I know you know how. Tomorrow's built today. I will excrete it. I will excrete it. I will excrete it. Better than I do.